don't believe in shaming at all, especially when it comes to your kids, but my daughter represents me. I'm not going to call her a whore, but I'm definitely going to have a conversation with her because she's not going to be out here in these streets looking around through like most of these modern day women. Sorry. I need class in my life and my family. With my daughters, I'm sorry.
But she's not property.
Okay, now. So the question of tonight, should we bring back shaming?
Yeah.
Ladies, let's get the ladies to answer.
Absolutely.
Or the men. Hey, V, what do you think? Do you think we should bring back shaming?
There is some merit in shame, but it has to be used well. It's not just like for the sake of it. Like in the example, like the video of the woman talking about her daughter, I do understand where she's coming from. Like when you have kids, you don't want them to, by their action, it kind of shows back on how they were raised by their parents, like it or not, even if it was the best upbringing. If the kids act a fool, it's always going to be the question, well, how were they raised? And didn't their mom, didn't their dad, didn't their uncle know already? So I can see where shame can be useful, but yeah, I'll call it shame.
Not even kids, though. Do you think we should be shaming these adults?
Yeah.
Kids are more, there's a better chance with kids and teenagers to a certain point to kind of shape them up than adults. Like, shame an adult. What are they gonna do? Like, they're gonna laugh at you, they're gonna ignore you. Like, few adults will use that as a learning opportunity.
Well, kids these days, you shame them, they might delete themselves. Like, they soft and sensitive. You gotta be sweet.
Well, that's why I say it has to be like an effect, like
these new age kids, they can't take nothing.
Wait. If they can't take nothing, that has to do with their parents. Why do you want to sweeten baby these kids? That's why these kids are bad nowadays, and they cussing out people. Like I think parents are too soft.
It's 2023.
Yeah, but parents need to stop being their friends and being their parent.
It's not changing, Q. It's not.
Anybody else?
Like,
it's just
even my dad. I'm not gonna tell you my age because you always talking shit. Anyway, my brother, my younger brother is what? I think my younger brother he's 19. My youngest brother. And the way that I got parented by my dad, and the way that my brother is totally night and fucking day. You can't even. That ain't never been whooped. That nigga talk back to my dad. I'm like, nigga, I would have got a brick thrown in my head.
But parents get softer. Parents get more relaxed and more soft, as they age. So if you have a bigger gap in between you and your kid, you and your brother or your sister or whatever it is, then the parent is generally going to be a little bit softer than they was on the oldest. Like the oldest of us, I got three brothers. Two of them is 6 and 7 years older than me, and then I got one brother that's younger than me, 6 years younger than me. So I'm literally in the middle, and it's the way that my parents were with the older kids versus how they were with my younger brother is like it's not completely different, but it was a big difference. It was a huge difference. So I don't know how that translates, but I think that parents, as they get older, starts becoming nicer. They become a little bit more chill. They're not as hard on the oldest kid or on the youngest kid as they are on the oldest kid. So that's generally what I see happening in a general sense. Even like if you could see parents with the grandkids, they way different with the grandkids than they are with the regular kids. You know what I'm saying? So that's just the way that it is. As people get older, they get more relaxed. I don't know what that is, but they're just not as aggressive. They're not as as on it as they are on every little thing. They let a lot more slide. So I don't know what that is, though.
They're trying to get into heaven.
No, that could be true. That really could be true. But I see a lot of people getting chill, a lot more chill as they get older.
Go ahead,
I think I might have a different view of it. I think parents need to, and this is going to sound militant of me. Forgive me. I just retired from the military. It is what it is, But I think parents need to raise their children to not be in need of settling, and also raise them to be mission oriented, right? Like I'll give you an example of what I mean. I have a 4-year-old daughter, right? I have an older kid too. took my 4-year-old with me to the pet store. Got a German Shepherd, AKC. Nice, good dog, you know. Anyway, went to go get the dog food from the store. 40 pound bag of dog food. Had my daughter with me. I say, hey, Yella, grab the dog food and take it to the register. My daughter is 4 years old. She's not big enough to be grabbing no 40-pound bag of dog food. But guess what she did? Because I didn't tell her, can you grab it or will you just grab it and do it? She assumed I can do it. And guess what? She pulled that thing off the shelf and started taking it up to the counter and got it up there, right? And I'm just saying that to say, if you raise your kids in a way where you're telling them you need to do things, you need to accomplish, and then you're starting to give them things that they need to accomplish, and you're telling them there's nothing they can't do, or you're assuming that they can do anything when you're speaking with them, when you're interacting with them, they'll carry that forward and they won't make those pitfalls.
What's the gap in between your kids?
The gap in between my kids is 3 years.
Oh, okay. So you got like a 4 and a 7-year-old?
Mm-hmm.
I got you. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, I think that shaming should just not have to go regarding kids. It should go regarding adults. Like nowadays, these women, these men, the lack of manners. For instance, I opened the door this weekend to a woman and she didn't even say thank you. I was like, what the fuck? Like, where's your manners? So I think that it should not only go to kids, it should go to these adults, right? I think that shaming does help. It could help mentally with people and change their standards and their morals regarding certain stuff, especially how people are moving today. Especially, let's just be honest. If men would shame women more often, I think some of these women would change. So
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Let's say if men would get on kind of the same page and start shaming these hoes and start telling them close your legs instead of fucking them.
Because everybody never going to be on the same page, because it's always going to be a simp to save them. The problem with women is not that they don't know better. It's not that men ain't on it. It's not that they're not going to get called on their BS. The problem with women is that there's always going to be a dude that simps out and comes out of the bushes with his hands, you know what I'm saying, to save her. Like, it's always going to be a dude in the friend zone, you know what I'm saying, that's going to validate her feelings, that's dirty macking, that's talking negative about the dude that she with. It's always going to be guys that always validate bad behavior, like they, you know what I'm saying? So, like, that's just the way that it is. A woman could be the worst ever, but she's always Superhead, right? How did Superhead get married? That makes no sense whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? There's always going to be a simp waiting and plotting and trying to figure it out, you know, as though he never had no pussy before. And so I don't believe that shaming is going to work. You know what I'm saying? Because all of the things that you do validates is reinforced with the bad behavior when you see a dude that then, you know what I'm saying, simps out and runs behind her and validate her bad behavior. So it's always going to be a simp. And women know it. They know that they can do some of the most raggedy things in life, and it's always going to be a guy that come up and be the cleanup man and pick up the pieces.
So I agree with what you're saying. I just wanted to bridge off of that and say that the shame is what actually gives them accountability for their actions. So if we're not able to shame them, then it kind of takes away a bit of our power as men.
Oh, no, it doesn't.
The only way that shame would work is it would have to be a cultural, societal mentality. It couldn't just be like you've already gotten too far away from it. Like when it was part of the culture and the mentality.
I still got connection issues.
Who's that?
Oh, sorry.
Am I freezing on your end?
Yeah, Faith, you're freezing.
Yeah, you're good. It's kind of.
I
didn't know who that was talking because I didn't see nobody's mouth moving. I'm like, am I?
He's not even letting me mute her. Oh. I was like, who heard their shit?
Yo, I'm thinking I'm going crazy over here. No, like it has to be like there used to be a time where shame was a big part of human culture. But the problem is we've moved so far away from it now that it's kind of pointless. Like you can't shame people who don't think they're doing anything wrong. Like they don't think they're doing anything wrong. So when you try to shame them, the mentality now is that you're wrong for shaming them, which is why Hey V was kind of hesitant about whether or not we should be shaming people.
I think if we did this, go ahead, my fault.
I noticed that when it comes to people having babies outside of marriage and like random, when my oldest cousin came home at 16 and said she had a baby to grandma's house, yeah, it wasn't a thing, but now it's like, oh yay, no husband, but it's fine.
Wait, in some cultures,
that's another thing.
In some cultures, they disown the child. Like I know on my dad's side of the family, one of his sons brought home someone of a different race, and he cut him off completely. So I think that shaming does work in some cases, right? So I think that it definitely needs to come back.
Too.
I say in some cases.
The only way that it
not
works,
for everybody.
because like even it's got to happen through the next generation, right? Like that same level of vigor, because older people get tired, to be honest with you. Like they do. They get tired because they raise their kids, and then they don't want to actually be the bad guy. They don't want to be the bad cop raising the grandkids and all that other type of stuff. And so they're in the space where they want to enjoy it, and they should be able to, because you're supposed to get the best of them, not be the one to raise them. And the problem is that the grandparents have to then raise the children when they're in their older age, and they don't have the same level of dedication, and they shouldn't have it. Like they're not about to be going to parent teacher conference and talking to the kids. Like they shouldn't be doing that. You know what I'm saying? So what happens is the next generation after that gets softer. They get weaker, they get softer, they do some of the worst things. And so, older people just kind of like, you know what I'm saying, want to live their life. I even see it a lot of times with a lot of people. I see it all the time where the older people they're nothing like they was, you know what I'm saying, 20 years ago when I was coming up, 25 years ago, 30 years ago when I was coming up, and they just more chill. They just more relaxed. So I just don't think that shaming is going to work today. I think that it could work, but if you expecting for me to be out here possibly crashing out because yo ho couldn't get herself together, nigga, when she go home, she bet she's still yo ho. You know what I'm saying? When she go home, she's still yours. And so I'm not about to be trying to figure her out and crashing out. I'm advising guys to just walk away from them type of women in the first place. And let me just say this too. If your chick, if she for the streets, there has always been hoes since the beginning of time. There has always been women that's about it, and there's always been women that's for the streets. The problem with most people today is that they don't know how to slot them. They now are thinking that all women deserve to be in the same category when they don't, in the same way that all guys shouldn't be in the same category. But women just instinctively know how to slot guys, like without any kind of permission. But guys, for some reason, have forgotten that there's the difference between a hoe and a housewife. And I don't understand why that's so difficult to figure out. It's a chick that's for the streets, slot her accordingly. Why are you validating this chick in the same way that you validating the chick that's not for the streets? That's really
I got an answer for that.
That's really the problem.
Because they think with their dicks.
I got an answer for that. It's not just that. It's that the shame needs to be threefold, right? Right now, what can happen is a woman can be promiscuous, be all these different things that was frowned upon just like 15 years ago, right?
Wasn't frowned upon.
And a man can take that woman home. You couldn't take a common trollop home to your mother back in the day. That's not true. They got guys doing that shit now.
They've been doing it for the last 50 years. The boomers is the ones that messed up the generation. Dog. Yeah. They're the ones that started wiping up the hoes in the first place.
The boomers were exactly the ones that started wiping hoes.
That's been happening since the beginning of time. These dudes been wiping up these chicks for the streets the longest, bro.